Welcome back to another video. This is not gonna be an episode, but this is gonna be our initial reaction to the Pascal Siakam trade. We're gonna talk about the trade and then give it a grade at the end. I have a couple questions for Max. We haven't really talked about it in our group chat or anything like that. It happened about 5 hours ago, but we wanted to jump on it and get our initial reactions out and stuff like that. We might talk about it a little bit later on another episode. But before we even get started, make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the video, and follow us on our social medias up at the top. It is free. It's easy to do. Only takes 5 seconds. All right. The Pascal Siakam trade. Honestly, it is a little late. Like I feel like the Raptors should have been done this. And honestly, I didn't know it was going to happen because we didn't hear the rumors. Pascal wasn't going to resign with whatever team traded from. We thought the Raptors might lose him for nothing. We're waiting around for free agency to really kick in, but this is like the first major thing that happened. The OG and the Nobi deal was kind of like a teaser, but this is the first star that's been moved. I think it's going to have a big impact on the Pacers. The trade was Pascal Siakam to the Pacers, and the Raptors sent Bruce Brown. No, not the Raptors. The Pacers sent Bruce Brown, Jordan Nwora, and 3 first-round picks. We came to later find out the 3 first-round picks were one from the Pacers this year, and then they're going to get the Raptors will get the least favorable of the OKC, Clippers. I think the Pelicans. Let me go look. The Pelicans might have been in it too. Oh no! So they get the least favorable of the Utah, Houston, Clippers, OKC picks. So it's either going to be the Clippers or OKC. I believe they're going to have the best record. So it'll be one of those picks that the Raptors get back, and then they also get the 2026 first from the Pacers. So it's 3 first-round picks and then salary filler for Pascal Siakam on an expiring contract. Max, what was your initial reaction to the deal before we even get into who won?
Oh, what the Pelicans end up getting? Nothing.
They got Kira Lewis.
No, they
I mean,
traded
no, the
Kira
Pelicans.
Lewis.
Yeah, they traded Kira Lewis to the Raptors. I don't
But
know
like,
exactly what
did
they
they just
got.
get money or something, or they got cap relief? I don't know. That's like I saw that and I didn't see the Pels get
I
anything.
don't think it's cat relief. I don't think it's cat relief just because Kira Lewis wasn't making that much money.
Okay.
But it may be cat relief or like a second round pick. I think it might have been second round pick though.
Okay. My initial thoughts is I think this should have been happened. I think the Raptors should have blown this up last summer or last trade deadline. They could have got rid of Fred, and I think this is a super similar situation with what happened with Fred. I know some Raptors fans and like people think could resign and stuff, but I don't think it really makes sense for both sides. I think there's some belief that he would resign or he would stay with the Raptors. The Raptors want him back, but like it just doesn't make sense. They're not a competing team right now. Um, I think what happened though last summer with Fred and not trading him at the deadline and getting him for nothing, they can't do that again. So I think they truly did capitalize on value, especially looking at the other trade targets of what they could have gotten. All the other rumor deals either had them taking uh, large contracts back or just not enough value, in my opinion. And getting 3 first round picks and getting Bruce Brown back in return is not very flashy, but I do think it's really beneficial to a guy that you're potentially losing in 4 months, 3 months. So I think to capitalize on Pascal's value, getting 3 first round picks, getting a Bruce Brown's playing good player. He obviously was very helpful to that Nuggets championship, but he's also very valuable to other championship teams, right? Other championship teams really want a guy like Bruce Brown on their team. So I think he also has a ton of trade value coming up. Probably to a lesser extent than Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso on a better contract. I think he's a better player, but like providing wise, like they both provide a little bit of offensive scoring and also defensive upside. So I think a lot of championship teams will look for guys like that. So I really do think that it was just about time. The rumor was whatever. The rumor started going around yesterday, I think, maybe 2 days ago, of like this
No,
three
it was
first round
last night.
three first
We
round
were
picks of Bruce Brown was last night.
we were honestly waiting around see we might have to record
Okay.
emergency episode just in case they dropped last night. But it spilled over until this morning.
So yeah, it was
Um,
kind of like we had the final details we thought or whatever. Obviously, I have a couple other pieces getting moved around, but it was just kind of a matter of time. And the trade, like we just said, has supposed to be a matter of time. We knew Pascal was going to get dealt. It was just a matter of time before it happened. So
so we talked a little bit before the episode or the video started. You're under the belief, the thought process that the Raptors won this trade. Why do you think the Raptors won this trade?
I think looking at team wise for Indiana, I really like the Pacers. But what does this trade get to you, in my opinion? You know what I mean? What is the ceiling for you? You're giving up 3 first round picks. I get everyone's worth more, right? Rudy Gobert got the 5 first round picks. Uh, but then again, Kevin Durant got what? 5 first round picks, a couple swaps.
Yep.
So, like, looking at different players, like Pascal's a great all-star, obviously, right? Great basketball player, he's an all-star. Um, but is he really the next piece that's going to evolve them into a real contender? And again, we have to see them play. We have to see how it goes. Obviously, like them all playing side by side. But like I heard a rumor where I heard I was on Twitter and I saw something like they were going to go for Paul George this summer, right? And with Kawhi signing that extension, um, probably going to stay, whatever, and that might have caused him to do this deal. Paul George kind of moves him for me, right? Paul George is what he's doing right now in LA. I think Paul George is a better player than Pascal Siakam, right? I think Paul George elevates them a little bit more because of his two-way versatility, right? He still can't defend and he still can't score very well. I get Pascal's a decent defender, but like I think it's different. I don't think this moves me to say that they're a guaranteed top 3 team in the East. I don't think so. I still think they're below Boston. I still think they're below Milwaukee, and I still might even put them below Philly. And I get they beat those teams. That's the big difference. Is they've without Pascal, they have beat Philly. They have beat Milwaukee, right? They're winning, and I think in all their besides Boston maybe, but no, they just beat Boston recently too. But I do think when it comes to playoffs and experience in the playoffs is a big thing, right? If you have Dame and Giannis on your team, I think that's already a head start in the playoffs because they're great players, but because they've done it before, right? Giannis has a ring. Dave's made it far in the playoffs. Like this whole team is new to this, so I think from the Raptors' perspective, I don't know what other offer you were going to get where you could get 4, potentially 5 first round picks in return. And yes, I'm saying they could. I've seen stuff where they probably could trade Bruce Brown to a contender. I think you can get 1 first round pick for sure, potentially 2. So I think if you get 5 first round picks and you got, I don't like RJ Barrett that much. We know that. We've talked about this. But you have Emmanuel quickly. You move that in the right direction. 5 first round picks can definitely start rebuild that franchise. Whether you want to draft with it, I think you're going to say something about them being later picks, and I understand that later picks, but there are gems in the end of the draft. We've seen this time after time, right? Like if there are good scouting departments and good scouting departments, like are in Toronto. Toronto has solid scouting departments. They got Fred VanVleet. I get Scotty Barnes was drafted high, but he wasn't a consensus pick there. Um, Pascal was drafted late. Like they are good at recruiting and at finding time like diamonds in the rough. So I do think that these picks will be valuable for sure. I think building forward with Scotty, that's your piece. You need to find more pieces to put around him. And I don't think anyone wants to go to Toronto free agency. So you have to build that through draft. So I think those 5 first round picks, or sorry, 4 first round picks, I say, would be very, very helpful.
I don't even know if they get a first round pick for Bruce Brown. Maybe they get 1. They're definitely not getting 2. I don't think Bruce Brown's value is 2 first round picks. Not at all. Not even close. And he is making $20 million. I don't know no contenders are going to give 2 first round picks for Bruce Brown because not many contenders have first round picks to give. That's 1. 2, I believe that the Pacers won his trade clearly. Clearly. 1, the belief is that he's going to resign. So you got Pascal Siakam. You didn't see that. You didn't see the tweet from Rose that he's believed to resign. But anyways,
I get
that's
you,
besides the
but
point.
it's believed. I get it. It's just believed. There's belief all
They
the
want
time, and I get it. Like
Halliburton talked to them before the trade, all that. They weren't going to trade for him unless they were pretty sure he was
I
going to resign.
I know, but
Anyway,
again, that's still 3. It's 3 months away. I'm not. Yeah, sorry, but it's still 4 months away. That's all.
okay, cool. So you got Pascal Siakam for 3 first round picks without having to give up any of your young core. You don't have to give up any of your young core at all. Now let's talk about these 3 first round picks. The 2024 draft is regarded as one of the weakest drafts in recent memory. Those picks and those players have a very low chance of being good. They're going to be in the late first, and the players might not be that good. So what you're giving up for Pascal Siakam is minimal. You still kept Jarace Walker. You still kept Benedict Mathurin. You still kept Obi Toppin for what he's worth. All of that stuff. You kept Buddy Hield as well. So they didn't really give up much for Pascal Siakam, and I think his fit there is going to be very, very good. It's going to take some time to work out, but when you think about the Indiana Pacers, what they like to do, they like to get up and down the floor. Now they play at a very high pace, and I don't think that's translatable to the playoffs. But when you trade for Pascal Siakam, he'll slow down your offense and give you a half court score. So they're gonna really, really need that in the playoffs come playoff time. Not only that, they needed a secondary creator next to Tyrese Halliburton to take shots down the stretch. And they got that. Pascal Siakam is going to thrive in the system because he'll have so much more spacing. He never got this amount of spacing on the Raptors. And we know what Pascal Siakam likes to do. He likes to get to the basket. He's going to have a lot clearer driver lanes on this team. So I think the fit is going to be wonky at first, but then they'll get it right. So that's why I think they want to trade for on the Raptors side. The Raptors, the three, like I said, the three first round picks. Yes, on the face value, that's a good return. But when you really look at the picks, the picks this year in 2024, we draft class. I don't think they're gonna be good. This good. You're gonna have to like try to hit on some role players right there. The pick that's gonna be OKC or Clippers, that's gonna be late first. So like late first. That players that are drafting usually those range, unless you hit on a hidden gem, are usually like players that are going to be in the G League for a time. Maybe they get on your roster, maybe even get cut, stuff like that. So those picks are not that valuable to me, not at all. And the reason people are saying it's a good return is because Masai waited so long and they didn't have many options at the deadline. If he would have done this a year later, a year prior, the picks would have been way better. The package would have been way better. So they're only saying that it's a good return because they had no options. It was either do this or lose Pascal for nothing in the offseason. But when you really look at these picks, they aren't great. You're banking on hitting on mid-round picks. And I think it would be much worse if they didn't have Pascal. I think it would be much worse if they didn't have Scotty Barnes. Because Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickly, that gives you optimism. Because you can build around those guys, and you think those guys can be franchise cornerstones. It's looking like Scotty Barnes could be a number 2 or number 1, not number 1, number 2 on a championship team. So, I don't think the draft picks are that valuable at all. The one in 2026 is also probably going to be a mid-round pick because if the Pacers re-sign Pascal, they'll be at least a 5 seed in the East for the foreseeable future. So it's okay. I think it's if they didn't have Scotty Barnes, it would be a bad start to rebuild. They have Scotty Barnes. I think it's an okay start to rebuild. You have direction now. That's the one good thing about this trade for the Raptors. You have direction. So that's my take on it. Bruce Brown's going to get you a first round pick. I don't think anything more than that. Maybe a few
I
seconds.
think I don't know. I think that your rationale is a little weird, in my opinion. Maybe that's just me. That's fine. Um, Talking about like picks and like really projecting on the future. Like, I don't think we really know what's going to happen as far as a draft class. And
The draft,
uh,
I've studied. I watched the draft class. I know the players in the draft. It's not a great draft at all.
but again, that's fine. But there are years past where there are bad draft classes, and you find diamonds in the rough still like later in the draft, right? And I'm
But
saying
yes,
that
that's
time
you're
after
banking on
time
that.
that the Raptors have done that. Like that's what I'm saying. Time after time, the Raptors have done that. So they have shown that they have a good development process or they have a good eye for finding talent. So I do think Toronto's good at that. Whether it's Masai or whether it's their scouting team. And thinking forward to
Th-
picks. What?
those are in stronger classes. Like what we class have they got? The Pascal Siakam class was great, I believe. Was that 2016?
Again, that's fine, but Pascal was still what? Picked late round? Like he got skipped over by a lot of people and he's probably a top 5 player in that class.
Yeah, he did. But like I
So
said, though,
again, so why did anyone else pick him? You know what I mean? Like that's fine. It could be a strong class or a weak class. But to say that there will not be one all-star caliber player in this draft or one good role player in this
I never
draft, I
said
think
that.
is wrong. Like
I never
I
said that
just,
in my life.
but I'm
When did I say that?
how much? So like, I'm just saying, like, so what's your
It's a it's a it's a very very
what's your
weak class. It's a bad draft
but
class
but how are you gonna judge that coming in next year? How are you gonna judge that?
because when you look at these players in reference to other draft classes, it's very weak. It's a lot of older players. It's a lot of players that just project to be role players. Like for instance, a guy like really like Robert Dillingham, he has potential to go lottery here, in his class or even higher. Some people have him like top 10. He in draft class prior, he would not have done that because he's a 6'2" guard that's undersized. He's not a really good defender. He would go late round in other draft classes. It's not like a myth. You look at the top of the draft class. You look at the top of the draft class. There's no Wemby. There's no Chet. There's no Paulo. There's no Anthony Edwards. There's no
That's
Lamelo.
fine, but
There's There's none of that.
they're not drafting at the top of the draft. So what are the odds? There are like what 7, 8 guys who could potentially
That's
go
my
one, right? Aren't there like
you
6,
asked
7, 8 guys who go one?
you you asked
Yeah.
me no, there's not. No.
How many people?
There's
Are,
you
how many people you got
th-
going one? 4?
this year?
Collier, Buzelis,
No,
the guy you had going first.
those guys have fallen out. Isaiah Collier is still probably a number one overall consideration, maybe, but he just got hurt and he's played up and down the season. Montes Buzelis is not going number one at all.
I've seen mocks like a week ago, so it doesn't change that much in a week.
It's not mock drafts aren't indicative of what's going to happen. And like I said,
That's fine, but
Montes
you had
Buzelis
a mock
is
draft.
I did. Montes Buzelis is not his stock has dropped significantly from the beginning of the season. He hasn't played well in G League Ignite, so he's going to be he's not going to be the first pick. The consistent first pick right now is
Sar,
Alexander Sarr. Yes, he's a consistent first pick right now.
top pitch, Ron Holland.
Top like Ron Holland, the guys that we thought they were going to be number one
You
pick
had
quality.
who's the Zachariah
Zachariah.
Richard.
Yep.
Yeah. So what I'm saying with this though is if I'm
It's
looking
not
at this draft, what pick do you think they'll have?
the Raptors. Probably have like 18 and probably like 20,
Perfect.
25.
So there are like, what do they need right now?
They need well, they really need first of all, let's start here. They don't control their own pick. It has to be top 6 for them to get out, I believe. So they don't need to win. That's one. 2, the pick. Let's say it's number 18 because that's where the Pacers are right now. If you look, I think.
Yeah,
the Pacers are around 18. They need definitely a center. Ideally someone that can space.
A 4. I think
They need a center.
shooting.
Jacopoto is not the center of the future. He's not.
No, but I don't think it's the biggest fit in need right now.
I mean, Scotty can play the 4.
They need Grady Dick to develop. They need Grady Dick to develop. To be honest, that's what they need.
Scotty Barnes to play a point forward type of position, but you need a 5. You definitely need a 5. They need probably another guard or a two guard either off the bench or in the start lineup.
They need to trade. So another thing with these first round picks, it allows them to get off the RJ contract too. They can trade RJ and a pick to get off that contract as well, just in case it becomes bad. Attaching picks to big contracts is something that always happens. If they can trade him to someone else and get the money off the books, that is also helpful. So it just gives them more picks to be expendable. Because again, I don't think RJ should be part of the future. I know he's played pretty well. Past couple of games, he's got a lot of box score stats and stuff, but I don't think he should be there. I don't like the spacing and the fit of quickly RJ and Scotty. I don't think that's a good fit, in my opinion. What you say something or no?
I can tell you I mean, come on now. I do draft research every single year. I know the players that are coming in, and it's a role player draft. Not a lot of players that really have star upside. So anyone that they be picking will probably be they will want to see if they can get a role player. I think if their goal is to go into this draft and get role players to build around Scotty, then that's a win. But I don't think that is indicative of what Pascal's value is. He's an all NBA player.
But like what I'm thinking is like what you trade him last year, what do you get?
I think you could have got young players back. So, like young players that have like potential. Like
okay, you get Benedict Mathurin, right?
Like last year, if they did this last year, they could have got Benedict Mathurin or Jarace Walker. They definitely could. But since Scotty, no, either or. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So you're basically saying the same package, but instead of Bruce Brown, you get Ben Math or Jarace Walker.
Yes, which is better than what Bruce Brown, because those players have potential. Bruce Brown, we know what he is, and again, so yes, that would be a much better package than what they have. Getting a young player, I don't think it's by that. I don't think it's that much. It's better by that much, coming from the fact that Pascal Siakam is going to be a free agent this summer. But
I think Indiana could have held.
They did it last year. They would have did it last year. No, they would have got it.
I think Indiana could have only given up two first.
The picks, like I said, the picks aren't that valuable at all in 2024. The 2026 one is more valuable.
I don't know.
It's not weird if you think they don't. The picks are not valuable. It's not a good draft.
I mean, I'm a Thunder fan. Again, like looking through these picks, like why do the Thunder get overhyped about picks? These are not valuable.
Bro. Their
We won't
picks,
get
their picks. A lot of them are in the lottery. They have they have 2 lottery picks, I think, this year, or two
no.
first round picks this year. Or
We have
they might have fell out. They might have fell out the lottery by now. But
so
earlier in the year they were lottery. And
we
also,
have
they're
we don't have
again, they're
our
not trying. There's no
what?
reason for the OKC to use these picks this year. They should trade them definitely. There's no reason for them to use them. There's no one you can be able to draft that are going to be upgrades from what you have already on the team.
Yeah, no, I disagree then
I
entirely.
think they should use one, maybe one.
I was
They should get
unless so they have the first through 4 of the Rockets, that'll be good. They have the Clippers, that'll be good. They have those 2. They have Utah's 1 to 10. That's probably not gonna happen, right? It's probably not gonna
you
happen.
talking about this year.
Utah will probably fall in with the top 10. I know they're winning right now, but I think Utah will end up in the top 10. So we could have 3 first. I don't think we have our own. I did not say we have our own. But on our team, how we have right now, like you're saying it's a role player draft? This would be the year to like I get you want to draft stars, but why would you not draft role players? That's what you need to get one more star,
I
then you
think
can get role players.
this is a year where you need to. This is where it's if you're gonna trade picks, it's definitely this year because, like I said, the draft is weak. So if you're going to be move on someone to get a star, this is definitely the one to do it because the picks are not going to be that valuable. Is what I'm saying. Um, this draft class is weak. So like, let's say they were trying to get Laurie at the deadline. I'm definitely including the picks from 2024 because the draft class does not have that much upside. And also, like some of the players are raw. So like OKC is past developing players at this point. I think they need to get players that are going to help them win now. So you're not going
Are
to
you
be
developing Case? Are you developing Case then?
Case was NBA ready. Like he was it was NBA ready. Um,
But are you not
his skill
developing
set.
him anymore or what?
So you want to add more and more development players? Like they're already still developing
I'm
Chet
not
and J
saying
Dub
more
and
and
Jason.
more. I'm saying
You don't need to add any more players that you're developing. No, you don't need to.
it's cheap though. That's
At
the
this
issue.
point,
It's cheap. And to be honest, some of those guys are even coming into their own. Shade's in his
you
own. J Dub's coming into his
you
own.
need
Chet's coming into his own.
they have a very deep team. They don't need to add more players that really are going to be role players. I think if they
Well,
draft one
if
player
we
this year, they need to draft a center to help alongside Kate.
But if we trade for a star, right? If we trade for someone, we're gonna have to give up some of our depth. So why not get a cheap role player option who can learn
You're
from
gonna have to
otherwise?
add picks too. You're gonna have to add picks too. So you should give the
Yes, but
picks from this year
we have so many picks to where it doesn't matter. We can still keep 1 or 2.
and the picks later because you don't know the outcome of it. Those are gonna be more valuable than the 2024 picks. Is my whole
Yeah,
point.
well, I guess, but like I don't know. I get you said the late one from Indiana um is more valuable than the 24, but you were pretty much just throwing that one out the window because Indiana's going to be good.
When 2026,
Yes,
I think that's gonna be another mid round
you
pick.
threw
But
that one out the window.
the draft class. No, I didn't. I said the draft class might be better. The draft class will be better. 2026 is
Yeah,
gonna be a better draft class.
I didn't hear that, but again, like some of these picks that we have are like good teams, like the having
What
Philadelphia,
years are
having
they?
my
What years are they?
Philly and Miami next year,
Okay, those
uh,
be mid
lo-
round. Those be mid round picks.
late
Which
round
they
picks,
don't
26.
what they really don't need to use. They can trade those.
We have Dallas and Phillies in 26. Again, late round picks. We have Denver's in
Yep.
2027, late round pick. The Clippers in 2027. That one's up in the air. Besides
It
that, we just have
is.
our own. We have our own. Denver in 29, which I assume will still be late round. There's a lot of
Maybe
protections on it. I don't know. And
Denver
again,
could be extremely different in 2029.
I think that there will be a lot of time to see how those next 2 picks. Again, you can if you want to say that this pick this year is going to be not a good pick and it won't amount to anything, that's fine. But I do think the ones in the next 2 years could be um, not potential all stars or potential greats, right? That's got to rely on them drafting well. But I'm not going to throw them out the window and say they're invaluable. So
I didn't say they're invaluable. I said they're not very valuable. Like they're not.
so
First round pick is a
all
first
right, so
round pick is.
invaluable and very okay. You just
It's not
you
like
that
they
was
don't
it.
hold a lot of value. They don't. They're like this, bro. When you think of oh yeah, we just traded 3 first round picks for all star. Like yeah, that's a good return. This it's not because of how weak the draft class is. That's my whole point. It's not because of how weak the draft class is. The picks are not good. Especially the second one. The second one is coming
But
from OKC or the Clippers.
like again, I think just saying the pick is not good isn't fair. It's how they use the pick.
bro.
They could use it to trade, or they could use it to
Picks
draft
have
well.
value. Do picks not have value?
Yes, for sure. But to say that something has like
Different picks have value. A protected pick has a different value than an unprotected pick. A late round pick have a different value than a lottery pick. They have different
But
values.
to say it's bad is just weird. Like they could still do a lot with that pick. You could trade that pick. What if they trade that pick and package it with someone else and go for something? What if they take that pick and they trade up in the draft and grab someone? What if they draft an all-star with
Then
that
they
pick?
have to. Then that's assuming that they make other moves, which they wouldn't be doing that. They're trying to get worse. They're not going to be go out and
But
trade market
what
and
I'm
add
saying
people.
is, let the pick happen, let everything fall in place, and then when they make that selection, they might have drafted the wrong guy. They might have skipped over an all-star, and then it's definitely a bad pick. But they might pick a good guy, and then we're talking about this a year ago for a year later from now, and now it's turned into, oh, that's a great pick. They weren't given a good situation, but it's a good pick.
We can only judge what we know now, and what I know is one of the draft classes week, two that mid round picks are not that valuable, and so for in which so drafting getting mid round picks in a weak draft class for Pascal Siakam, who is an All NBA player, it's not you're
That was
not winning the
leaving this
trade.
summer. He was going to leave this summer.
I understand that he was going to test free agency this summer, so that is my thing. So you have to take less, and that's what they did. They took less.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so I guess you could look back on it and sure they should have traded him 3 years ago and they could have got a better package because he's on contract for 3 years. But they didn't. And yeah, I agree. They should have traded him years ago. We just both said that. But you trade it now, you value it for now. I don't think it's fair to say you shouldn't have traded him years.
And
Like,
the value now is low for those picks. Those are not high value picks. You ask anybody that's been paying attention to the draft process, they'll tell you those picks are either going to be role players or players are not insignificant. Obviously, there are like players that are diamonds in the roughs, players that shock everybody, but the players in his draft class has very low upside, very low. Like Alexander Sarr, number one pick wouldn't go. He would probably be outside the top 5 or probably number 4 last year. Like that's how bad the draft class is. It's not a good draft class. It's a role player draft.
I guess
Like
I'm not gonna.
when I say role player draft, I mean the players in the top 10 might be role players. Like literally, not players in the mid to late, lottery. The players in the top 10 might be role players. I have
Yeah, I guess I'm just not gonna call the whole draft a bust right now. So, um, yeah, like
well, how much have
2017.
you looked into it? How much have
Huh?
you looked into it? How much have you looked into it?
I guess it's. Sorry. I'm saying, like, looking back at other drafts, like we talked about, whatever 20. What was Pascal's?
I believe 2016.
So
Pascal.
looking at the 2017 draft, for example, right? Top guys: Markel, Lonzo, Jason Tatum, right?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, I can't see you. I would just switch back from different things. Majority of the stars in this draft are all mid-round picks, right? Markel, bust. Lonzo, bust. Josh Jackson, bust. Isaac, Neil Aquino, bust. Dennis Smith Jr., bust. Zach Collins, bust. Malik Monk, bust. Luke Kennard, like, again, good role players and stuff, but then you get Donovan Mitchell, you get Bam Adebayo, you have Jared Allen, you got OG, you got Derek
That
White,
was a
you got Kyle
very
Kuzma.
that was a very deep draft class.
Again,
It was
I feel like the top
a
heavy,
very deep draft class.
maybe it's the top heavy. We see that 2020 vision. Were you saying that in 2017?
I wasn't watching. I wasn't like that into the draft process in 2017. I was what like
I don't
11
know
or
if we're
something,
all
12,
saying that in 2017.
13.
Like, you can look back at any draft.
This is the worst
For the
draft
most,
class since 2013. This is probably the worst draft class since 2013. The worst draft class since 2013.
yeah. Again,
Go look at the
they're like,
2013 draft. Go look at the 2013 draft.
yeah. What
It's
about
not
it?
good. It's not good.
There are diamonds in the rough,
This
though.
I'm not saying that they won't be able to find a diamond in the rough. I'm just not going to bank on that in this draft class,
Yeah,
especially.
I'm not gonna say, like, I guess I'm not gonna bank on it, but I'm not gonna throw it out the window when they've showed they can draft pretty well in the past. Or maybe they don't draft well, but they just develop the players that draft well. So yes, I agree. This draft stinks. I mean, we all know that. But you still have your Giannis's. You got Rudy Gobert late in the rounds. But yeah, it's a lot of mid people. So again, I
Yes,
don't know the players specifically,
that's what they're
but
comparing this to. Yeah, that's what they're comparing this to.
So again,
That's what
like just
I'm
find.
telling you. I do know the players specifically. I do know them, and they upside is not high at all. A lot of them gonna be role players. No, role players is not bad. If your goal is to get role players to build around Scotty, I think that's great. But you have to draft the ones that fit what he needs to be around him. I think they should go center. Um, Center definitely, and then probably another shooter. So we need more spacing around him for sure. But let's get to the grading. Um, what do you give a grade for each team?
Um, I'll give Toronto I'll give him a B plus. B plus. Hello? Hello?
I was asking for both. Like
Oh, sorry. I'll
you
give
get
Toronto a B plus. No, I'll give Toronto an A minus, and I'll give Indiana a B. I got one question to ask you though after.
okay. The Pacers definitely won a trade, so I'm not gonna give I'm not giving the Pacers a lower grade than the Raptors, but I'm gonna give the Pacers an A just for the fact that if Siakam resigns, they gave up little to nothing for him. They didn't give up any of the young core, and they gave up 2 first-round picks from 2024 that have not that much value. The 2026 first might be decent. It's a bad draft class. Um, and I'll give the Pacers, not the Pacers. I give the Raptors. I'll give the Raptors a B minus. Uh, they got 3 first-round picks. I don't think they're going to be that valuable of 3 first-round picks, and they got a direction. That's what they wanted to do with this move. They wanted to get a direction, and they got it. It's built around Scotty. That should be the direction going forward. And so, from that aspect, I think it was a win for them because they got an actual direction where they're going for, and they got out Siakam's contract, and they didn't lose him in the summer. I agree with all those points; those are good things. But as far as the actual package, didn't get young players, didn't get a top 10 lottery pick. They didn't get none of that. So that's where they definitely didn't win it. And then, as far your point was, oh, how far does this move the ceiling for for the Pacers? This was just step one. This was just step one. They're gonna they're gonna be another move, like eventually. Like they're not gonna just cap out with Siakam.
But but where? They don't have all the money in the world. You just took on Siakam's contract. You got to resign him. You have a lot of
Yes,
young guys
they're gonna
coming
be.
up. You can't keep Jarris. You can't keep Obi. You can't keep Ben Math.
Obi is expendable. Um, but this is not gonna be the only move they make. This is the number. This is a move to push them closer to contention. They're gonna make another move. They have
Like,
ways to make moves.
okay, like, do you want to say any of them or no?
Are you asking me to project years into the future? No, I'm not. I can't do that. But
I don't think I like
this
watching
wasn't
it.
the move to make them a
Watching
contender.
Indy. Watching Indiana, and watching them for how long? At that point in time, Pascal is probably going to be. If we're talking 4 or 5 years down the line, is Pascal going to be putting out the same stuff? No.
No, I'm not talking about 4 or 5 years down the line. But this was the step. This is step one to becoming a contender, to being a real serious
Oh,
threat in the East.
again, that's fine. Um, who's coming there in free agency? One, nobody.
It
You
don't
have
have
to
to be.
trade for
It
someone.
doesn't have to be.
That's
It doesn't
fine.
have to
You
be
have
in
to
free
trade
agency.
someone. Yes, you have to trade someone. So you have Benedict Mathurin. That's your core piece, and Jarris Walker. Those two guys, your valuable pieces moving forward, right? Those are your two most valuable
Yes.
pieces. What's their draft capital they got right now?
Took a hit after today.
Huh?
They should have a lot of. They should have a lot of air picks though.
Let me make sure I know. They just traded that one. So they traded their own for this year too.
Yes.
So they have a first in 25, a first in 26, a first in 27, a first in 28, a first in 29, a first in 30, and a bunch of second round picks, right? Like my thinking is if they don't have anyone else's picks, they have first. They have their own first and they have other team seconds. If Donovan Mitchell, if Paul George, if who's going to ask the one out? Laurie Markkinen. If all these guys want out, there's no way the best package you're getting is Ben McMatherin and 2 or 3 first round picks. There has to be other teams. If a honest superstar, if Donovan Mitchell goes on the trade, right? If Donovan Mitchell wants to get traded, right?
I don't know
I
why you
think
think
Donovan
I don't know why
Mitchell,
these contended teams don't have that great draft assets. They don't at all.
what are you talking about?
What contended teams have great draft assets? Like outside of OKC, who's not contending yet, but
Not draft
what
assets,
other teams
people
have?
in general. Like
Like
what
who?
team are you thinking about?
No, I'm saying you talking about these stars going to other teams. What teams do you think they would be going to?
Like you're saying as a
The
whole?
Nuggets. The Nuggets. This is getting
The
a
Nuggets are
lot far away. This is getting a lot
I'm just
farther than
saying, like,
what the
I don't
Magic
think they're beating out
trade.
a package from I don't think they're beating out a package from Dallas. I don't think they're beating out a package from Miami because you could still throw Tyler Hero out there. I think Sacramento
That
has better packages to offer people.
Dallas packages are not that great at all.
But that's what I'm saying. Indiana's like losing
The
all their
Kings,
stuff because they're losing all their picks.
the Kings,
The Kings are
the
better.
Kings,
Like
the Kings have good draft assets.
the
The
Timberwolves, like it
Kings
depends
and
on what people are willing. It depends on what people are
the
willing to move.
Timberwolves.
But the Warriors have
Timberwolves.
better packages for people. The Lakers have better packages for people at this point in time.
I don't know about that.
Like I don't know who you're talking about has a word like. And again, like I'm not saying it's like Ben McMatherin and first round picks is not bad, but like you're gonna have someone like New York, especially, who's gonna want to throw throw 4 or 5 first round picks to go get a star. Like
I don't know.
don't get me
I
wrong.
don't know why this. I don't know why the thought process of this would be the only move that they make. They know where they want to go as far as being a contender. This is not going to be the only move that they make.
I've watched Indiana. This looks like the Victor Oladipo Domantas Sabonis team, and that's all they ever did because
No,
they
it's not,
leave before they can actually get good. How?
because both of these players are better than both of them, like by a lot.
Victor Oladipo was hooping at the time. I get, yes, Pascal's better, and I probably
What
picked
is?
Reese in their prime season.
Yeah,
Like
what are we talking about?
it's got a similar build. Like this team is not this. You cannot tell me this team moves you this year. You can't tell me this team moves you next year. And the same way that you're shitting on all the first round picks and all that, I don't know. I don't know what moves they're gonna make. That's fine. I'll put that out there. But looking at what assets they have and the people who are going to be available, a lot of guys are free agents next year. They don't have tons of money now. People are
It's
going to ask for
gonna.
a trade,
This has been
and your
viewed.
package is going to look the same every time.
This has been viewed as a stepping stone. It's not the end all be all at all. Because if it was that, then obviously it's not going to be. Of course, it's not going to be a championship winning move. And again, it's like, oh, you gave up 3 first round picks for Siakam, and it's not going to move your ceiling. The picks aren't that valuable. They're not. They're
Okay, but why not? Why not
they're
trade?
first round picks.
So why not use the same exact package and put 2 more first round picks on top? Go for a star that does move your ceiling.
Like who?
Kevin Durant wants out.
No, he's not gonna. Bro, these players can control where they want to go. They're not. He's gonna say, "I'm not gonna play for the Pacers." Be for real. Why would Kevin Durant play for the Pacers? What are we talking about right now? Stop.
If you could trade Jarris Walker, Ben Mathurin, and 5 first round picks, I swear the Suns would do it. The Suns would do it because they can get off the contract and stop looking bad.
And KD's gonna be like, "I'm not playing for the Pacers." Is what he's gonna say.
He's got guys who are playing. Beal's not playing. Booker's not playing. So he's actually got guys who are healthy and playing.
This is way farther than where it was.
I'm just saying, this is my rationale when I give out a grade. Like, I'm looking for the future, and I don't see where Indiana's going.
They made a move to get better without giving up much. They made a move to get better without giving up much. They didn't give up much at all.
I guess maybe I'm crazy for thinking 3 first round picks is a decent amount. So,
like, that's been the rationale. I've seen how everybody reacted to this. 3 first round picks is not crazy for Siakam when you consider what the first round picks are. They didn't give up any young players at all. They kept Jarris Walker and Bennett Mathurin. They kept Andrew Nembhard. They gave up Bruce Brown, Jordan Nwora. Let's be serious. That's not a lot of value at all for an all NBA player. No, it's not.
And again, like you could say whatever promises you think you've heard from online, and he might resign, but it's not a guarantee. So you just I think if you're giving up Ben McMatherin and 3 first round picks, you're mortgaging all that on someone saying, "Yeah, I think I'm going to resign." Like he said, he wanted to test out free agency in Toronto, the place he actually loves. Like, why would you not test out free agency now?
Adrian Wojnarowski, probably the most reputable reporter in all of basketball. Pascal Siakam is expected to is excited about the deal to the Pacers and expected to be eager to work out a new contract with the franchise this summer. Sources tell ESPN. I don't
We'll
know
see.
if we're not supposed to just
I feel like every time I give a source or we talk about a source, it's incredible. Sorry,
Mel
it's not
Kiper
credible.
Mel Kiper
Just
is
saying.
more reputable than Adrian Wojnarowski.
I'm not saying it is, but you
Okay, then.
just throw out every fact that supports you seems to be the Bible, and every fact that goes against you is that's probably not even true.
Is Mel
But it's
Kiper more
cool. No, no,
reputable?
no.
Is Mel
Understand. I
Kiper?
understand. I
Oh, okay
understand.
then.
I understand.
Mel Kiper is not more reputable. He's not. He's not. Is he more reputable than Adrian Wojnarowski? Is he?
I don't fact check both their tweets.
Okay. All right. So
Just
now
saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like I don't. I get it. Like I get it, but at the same time, it's like cool. Like he says he's excited to resign. Like you probably tell a team that if you went there, like you're not gonna say you don't want to resign. So
no, if he didn't want to go there, he would have just said, "I'm not resigning there," like he did to the Kings. That's why they didn't trade for him.
so
He said
I don't
I'm
know.
not playing for the Kings. He said I'm not playing for the Kings. He literally said that. So and there has been reports that he's talked to Tyrese Halliburton, all that. He's gonna resign. Well, and if he doesn't, that's when they'll lose the trade. Obviously, duh. But they are very confident he's gonna resign. So why not do the deal?
Okay.
They could have
So
waited to the offseason, maybe.
like
They
I
could have.
think if he wants to go there anyways, if he likes going there, why would you not just resign him and keep Bruce Brown?
Um,
And you keep the first round picks. You draft cheap. Bruce Brown's expensive. Now you keep those first round picks and you sit there and you draft a role player and you develop a role player off the bench and you keep Bruce Brown and then you sign Pascal Siakam. Why do you not do that?
I think it would have been harder to do that. They would have had to do a sign and trade in the offseason anyways. They didn't have the cap space.
But
So
then it significantly decreases the value. Now you still give up Bruce Brown. You still have to give up 3 first round picks.
I don't know what the package would have been like in a sign and trade. It would
If he already wants to leave, it doesn't
definitely
matter.
it would have been definitely they would have got 3 first round picks, but like I said, I don't think the first round picks. If they would have they probably would have just drafted the players and then traded them to the Raptors.
On Indiana's side, I just think that there is a way they could have gotten this with even less. And I think that like looking forward, they need to make smart moves going forward to compete with Boston, to compete with Milwaukee, to compete with the Sixers. And this is not like you can't. I don't know. No, like watching Indiana, like being an Indiana fan. No one signs in Indiana. That's just how it is. Like no one ever signs in Indiana. You can get re-signed sometimes, but no one signs in Indiana. So you got to draft your players. And by giving up first round picks, that's scary. So
All right. Well, that we went further a little further, but I think we got all our points out, our thought process on the trade. I definitely think the Pacers won. I haven't seen too many people say the Raptors won. I don't think I've seen it at all. Honestly. But I see people say it's a win-win. I'm not saying like
that's fair. I think it's closer to a win-win than the Pacers just swept. So I
I
get
didn't
it.
say I didn't say the
If
fleece
they
them
can
or nothing.
resign Pascal and they can make a move, sure, that like gets you going forward. But that's gonna have to probably how much I don't know how much Tyrese is signed, but you might be looking at getting Miles Turner out of there too with age and money wise. That's bad too. So
All right, y'all. That was our initial reaction and grades for the Pascal Siakam trade. Make sure you guys like the video and comment and follow our social medias at the top. Thank you guys for watching.